Hello. Can we speak honestly for a moment? I want you to stop and think about this. Your current financial situation, whatever it may be, is not an accident. It is not a product of luck, nor fate, nor whether your boss gave you a raise last year. It is the direct result of a set of rules, of invisible laws that operate in your life every day, whether you know it or not. Many of us spend our entire lives struggling, striving in jobs that consume us, sacrificing time with family, chasing wealth, without understanding the map to get there. It's like trying to put together a puzzle without having the picture on the box. Frustrating, right? The problem is that no one gave us the manual. In school, they taught us history, math, biology. But what about money? That subject was left off the curriculum. And that omission is costing us our future. But what if I told you that you can have that manual? That these laws are not a secret reserved for millionaires, but principles that anyone can learn and apply? Today, I'm not going to give you a lecture. We are going to have a conversation. A conversation about the 12 financial laws that, once you understand them, will forever change the way you see money. This isn't about magic formulas, but about turning on the light in a room where you've been in the dark for a long time. Are you ready to take control? Let's begin. Welcome to Money Talk. Law 1. Parkinson's Law. The mystery of the disappearing paycheck. Does this sound familiar? You get a raise, you feel that euphoria that, this is it. Now you'll be able to save, get out of debt, breathe. But a month or two passes and somehow you find yourself in exactly the same place. The extra money seems to have evaporated. You are not alone, and it's not that you are bad with money. You are experiencing the first law, Parkinson's Law. This law is simple and brutal. Your expenses will always expand to match your income. Think of it as a gas that fills any container. Your income is the container. If the container grows, the gas, your expenses, expands to fill it completely. A slightly better car, more frequent dinners, that subscription you deserve. And suddenly, the new salary feels just as tight as the previous one. I have seen people earn $30,000 a year and feel drowned, and others earn $150,000 and be even worse off, with credit card debt, car loans, and a mortgage that suffocates them. Why? Because they never consciously decided how much space their expenses would occupy. They let them expand without control. The solution is not to earn more, at least not at first. The solution is to decide the size of the container. Before the money arrives, decide which part is for you, for your future. The rest is for living. If you don't set a limit, Parkinson's Law will ensure that you never have anything left over. It is a natural law, and you can only beat it with an intentional plan. Law 2. The time value of money. Your most powerful ally, or your worst enemy. Warren Buffett once said, "The best time to start investing was 20 years ago. The second best time is now." Why? Because he understood a fundamental truth of the financial universe. A dollar today is worth infinitely more than a dollar tomorrow. This is the second law, the time value of money. Imagine I offer you $10,000. You can have them today, right now, or you can have exactly the same $10,000 in a year. Most people would say, give me the money now. But few understand the power behind that decision. Those $10,000 today have incredible potential. They are like a seed. If you plant it today, invest it, even with a modest return of 10% annually, in a year you will have $11,000. If you wait a year to receive the money, you have lost the opportunity to earn those $1,000. You have lost a year of growth. Now, multiply that by all the money you have right now, however small, and by all the years you have ahead of you. Every day your money isn't working for you, you are losing an opportunity that will never return. Time is the secret ingredient that turns small sums into great fortunes. Don't let "I'll start tomorrow" steal your future wealth. Time is passing anyway. The question is, are you using it as your ally so your money grows? Or are you letting it slip through your fingers, losing potential with every second that passes? Law 3. The Pareto Principle, 80-20. Work smart, not hard. Have you ever felt like you work nonstop, that you are incredibly busy, but when you look at your bank account, the results don't reflect your effort, it is one of the most exhausting feelings there is. Here's where the third law enters, the Pareto principle, or the 80-20 rule. This law states that in almost any area, 80% of your results come from only 20% of your efforts. Think about it. Of all the tasks you do at work, which are the ones that really move the needle? Of all your sources of income or investments, which ones generate the majority of your profits? The trap we fall into is thinking that being busy is the same as being productive. We spend 80% of our time on low-impact tasks that only generate 20% of our results. We are investing our most valuable resource poorly, our energy. People who build wealth don't necessarily work more hours. They work smarter. They identify their golden 20%. They constantly ask themselves, what is the one thing I can do right now that will have the greatest impact on my finances? If you feel stuck, pause. Analyze your activities. Where is your 20%? Maybe it's developing a new skill, looking for extra income in a specific area, or dedicating time to that investment you know has potential. Stop trying to focus on what really matters and watch your results skyrocket. Law 4. Compound interest, the eighth wonder of the world. Albert Einstein called it the eighth wonder of the world. He said, "He who understands it earns it. He who doesn't pays it." He was talking about the fourth law, compound interest. If you can only remember one law from this conversation, let it be this one. Imagine you have a small snowball at the top of a mountain. You push it and it starts to roll. At first, it barely grows, but as it goes down, it collects more snow, gets bigger, and rolls faster. The more it rolls, the more snow it collects, and the faster it grows. By the end of the mountain, that small snowball is an unstoppable avalanche. That is compound interest. Your initial money is the snowball. The interest it earns is the snow it collects. And time is the mountain. The magic is that you don't just earn interest on your initial money, but you start earning interest on the interest you already earned. It is a multiplier effect that transforms patience into wealth. Warren Buffett built over 90% of his fortune after age 50, not because he suddenly became a genius, but because his snowball had been rolling for decades. You don't need to be a genius. You don't need a fortune to start. The only thing you need is to start as soon as possible and let time and compound interest do the heavy lifting for you. Every dollar you invest is an employee working for you 24/7, creating more employees' interest that in turn work for you. Are you putting your army to work? Law 5. Risk and return, the inevitable dance of finance. Earn 50% monthly risk-free. Get rich in a week. Have you heard promises like these? They sound incredible, but they hide a fundamental truth that brings us to the fifth law, the law of risk and return. This law is a universal principle. If you want the opportunity to obtain higher returns, you inevitably have to accept higher risk. There are no shortcuts. They are two sides of the same coin. The problem is that our psychology plays tricks on us. Fear makes us want zero risk. So we leave money in the bank, where inflation slowly eats it, a hidden risk. Greed makes us chase those promises of stratospheric gains, where the risk of losing everything is almost 100%. Financial intelligence is not about avoiding risk, but about managing it. It consists of understanding your own tolerance. How much risk can you take without losing sleep at night? Think of it like driving a car. Going 5 kilometers per hour is very safe, but you won't get anywhere. Going 200 kilometers per hour might get you there fast, but a small mistake can be catastrophic. The key is to find a speed that allows you to move toward your destination safely and efficiently. Before any investment, ask yourself, what is the worst possible scenario, and can I live with it? Knowing your risk profile and acting accordingly is what separates the intelligent investor from the gambler who ends up losing it all. Law 6. Diversification, the golden rule to not lose it all. There's an old saying you've probably heard 1,000 times, but in finance, it is a sacred law. Don't put all your eggs in one basket. This is the 6th law, the law of diversification. Imagine your financial future depends on one single thing, the stock of the company where you work. If the company does great, so do you. But what if it goes bankrupt? You lose everything at once. your job, and your savings. It is too big a risk. Diversification is your safety net. It is the most effective way to reduce risk without necessarily sacrificing returns. It consists of spreading your investments across different baskets. But be careful, many people misunderstand this concept. Buying shares of 5 different technology companies is not diversifying. If the tech sector falls, your entire portfolio sinks. True diversification involves investing in different asset types, stocks, bonds, in different industries, technology, health, consumer goods, and even in different countries or regions. The rule of 110 can be a simple guide. Subtract your age from 110. If you are 40 years old, the result is 70. That means that, as a reference, you could have around 70% of your portfolio in higher growth investments, equities, and 30% in safer investments, fixed income. Remember, the goal is not to avoid losses completely. That is impossible. The goal is to ensure that if one of your baskets falls, all your eggs don't break. Protect your capital. It is the foundation upon which you will build your wealth. Law 7. The law of savings. Pay yourself first, always. Of all the laws, this is perhaps the simplest in theory and the hardest in practice. It is the foundation of everything. The 7th law, the law of savings. Most people follow this formula. Income minus expenses equals savings, if anything is left. The problem is that, due to Parkinson's law, there is almost never anything left. Financially successful people flip that formula. Their mantra is, income minus savings equals expenses. This is the golden rule. Pay yourself first. Think about it. When you receive your paycheck, who is first in line to get paid? The government, taxes, the bank, mortgage, the electric company, the supermarket. Everyone gets paid before you. The most important person, the one who worked all month, is left with the scraps. You have to change that. Before paying a single bill, before buying a coffee, a part of that money belongs to you, to your future self. Determine a percentage. 10% is a great start. The moment you receive your income, automate a transfer of that 10% to a separate savings or investment account, an account you do not touch. You will be surprised to discover that you can live perfectly well with the remaining 90%. You will adjust. But that 10% you are saving is the seed of your financial freedom. You are buying your future. Every time you pay yourself first, you are making a deposit into the bank of your own peace of mind. Law 8. Debt and leverage. Fire to cook or to burn down your house. The word debt usually has a negative connotation. We associate it with stress, with problems, with being trapped. And for many it is. But for the wealthy, debt is one of the most powerful tools that exist. This duality brings us to the 8th law, the law of debt and leverage. Debt is like fire. In the hands of an irresponsible person, it can burn the whole house down. But in the hands of a chef, it cooks a delicious banquet. The problem isn't the fire, it's who handles it. Bad debt is what you use to consume. It is money you borrow to buy things that lose value. A new car, the latest sneakers, a vacation. You are committing your future income to pay for a past pleasure. It is a trap that impoverishes you. Good debt, or leverage, is what you use to acquire assets that generate income or increase in value. It is taking out a loan to buy a property you are going to rent out or to invest in your own business. You are using other people's money, the banks, to generate more money for you. Rich people understand this. They use leverage to multiply their gains. People with a poverty mindset use debt to finance a lifestyle they cannot afford. Before getting into debt, ask yourself a simple question. Is this going to put money in my pocket or take it out? The answer to that question will determine if you are using fire to build your future or to burn it. Law 9. Opportunity cost. The invisible price of every decision. Every day you make hundreds of financial decisions, most without thinking. That $5 coffee, that subscription to a platform you barely use, that impulse purchase online. We believe the cost is only the price we pay. But there is a hidden cost much bigger. Welcome to the 9th law, the law of opportunity cost. This law states that the true cost of something is that which you give up to get it. When you spend $5 on a coffee, you aren't just spending $5. You are giving up what those $5 could have become. If you had invested those $5, in 30 years, thanks to compound interest, they could be $75. So the true cost of that coffee isn't $5, it's $75 of your future. Let's think bigger. You decide to buy a $20,000 car. In 10 years, that car will be worth perhaps $5,000. But if you had invested those $20,000, in 10 years, you could have over $50,000. The opportunity cost of having that car isn't just the depreciation. It's the wealth you stopped building. It's not about never enjoying a coffee or never buying a car. It's about being aware. Every time you are going to spend your money, especially on large purchases, ask yourself, what am I giving up earning by making this decision? Is there a better use for this money that brings me closer to my goals? Starting to see the invisible price of things is a financial superpower. Law 10. Inflation, the silent thief in your bank account. You have your savings kept safe in a bank account. You don't invest them for fear of losing them. You believe that if you have $10,000 today, you will have $10,000 next year. But you are wrong. There is a silent thief that enters your account every night and steals a little of your money without you realizing it. His name is the 10th law, inflation. Inflation is the general increase in prices. It means that your money loses purchasing power every year. With a historical average inflation of 3%, the $10,000 you have today will only be able to buy in a year. What you buy today with $9,700. You have lost $300 of purchasing power without doing anything. Leaving your money in the bank is not a safe strategy. It is a guaranteed strategy to lose. It is like trying to walk up a down escalator. You have to move faster than it just to stay in the same place. That is why investing is not an option for those who want to be wealthy. It is a necessity for anyone who does not want to be poor. Your money must grow at a rate higher than inflation just to protect its value. Any return above inflation is your real gain. The S&P 500, for example, has averaged 10% annually over the long term. If you subtract 3% inflation, your real return is 7%. You aren't just beating the thief, you are building wealth. Don't let inflation eat your future. Put your money to work. Law 11. Mean reversion. The calm amidst the market storm. The stock market goes up like a rocket. Everyone is making money. The euphoria is total. Novice investors, driven by the fear of missing out, put all their money in at the top. Then, the market crashes. Panic seizes everyone. The same novice investors, terrified, sell everything at the lowest point, turning a temporary loss into a real and devastating one. This cycle of euphoria and panic is due to a lack of knowledge of the 11th law, reversion to the mean. This financial law says that, over the long term, prices and returns tend to return to their historical average. Think of it like a rubber band. You can stretch it far up, a bull market, or far down, a bear market. But sooner or later, it will return to its normal state. The intelligent investor knows this. He doesn't get carried away by euphoria or panic. When everyone is buying frantically, he is cautious. And when everyone is selling in terror, he sees a buying opportunity. Understanding this law gives you the superpower of patience. It allows you to ignore the daily noise of financial news and focus on the long term, knowing that market crazes are temporary, but long-term trends are much more predictable. Don't try to guess market movements. Invest consistently and let mean reversion do its job. Law 12. Prudent spending, the true sign of wealth. We live in a society that constantly screams, spend, buy, show off your success. We see the luxury car, the big house, the exotic vacations, and we think, that person is rich. But often, we are just looking at someone who is very good at spending money, not necessarily generating or keeping it. This brings us to the 12th and final law, the law of prudent spending. Robert Kiyosaki said, "You can predict a person's future just by looking at what they spend their time and money on." At the end of the day, there are only two ways to have more money to build your future: earn more or spend less. Increasing your income can depend on many factors, but your expenses, those are 100% under your control. There are no excuses. Prudent spending doesn't mean being stingy. It doesn't mean you can't enjoy life. It means being conscious. It means aligning your expenses with your values and your goals, not with the expectations of others. Before making a purchase, ask yourself, do I really need this? Will it make me happier in the long run? Or is it just instant gratification? Does it bring me closer to, or take me further away from my financial freedom? True wealth isn't the car you drive or the clothes you wear. True wealth is having assets that work for you. It is the freedom of not having to worry about money. And that wealth is built on the foundation of spending less than you earn. It is the simplest and perhaps the most powerful law of all. You have control. We have journeyed together through these 12 laws, from understanding that your expenses will grow if you don't control them, to the incredible power of time and compound interest. From managing risk to the importance of paying yourself first. These are not simple suggestions. They are the physics laws of money. You cannot break them. You can only break yourself against them. But the good news is that now that you know them, you can start using them to your favor. You can make the wind blow in the direction of your sails. Your financial education is the most valuable asset you will ever have. It is more important than any stock, any property, any business, because it is the skill that will allow you to build and protect everything else. The journey toward your financial success doesn't start when you win the lottery or get that dream promotion. It starts right now, with the decision to understand these laws and apply them, one day at a time.